In this lesson, we are looking at one of the most common mistakes in underwater editing, trying to fix color before the image has structure. Color matters, but underwater it should not be asked to rescue the whole edit. The foundation comes first. White balance, exposure, and presence need to point the image in the right direction. Then color can do its real job, refine the image and make it feel believable. This is the mistake almost every underwater photographer makes at first. The image looks dull, blue, green, or flat, so the instinct is to go straight to color. Add vibrance, push saturation, try a preset, or bring back the reds. It feels logical because color is often the most obvious thing missing, but underwater, color tools amplify what is already there. If the foundation is wrong, they usually make the problem stronger. The goal is not to make color work harder. The goal is to build the image correctly before color becomes the refinement step. This is the core reason underwater editing needs a different process. On land, light is usually more stable. A portrait, landscape, or architectural image often begins with a cleaner color baseline. Underwater, the file is already compromised before Lightroom ever opens it. Red, orange, and yellow light disappear. Depth and distance shift color. Suspended particles reduce contrast, and strobes or video lights may only illuminate part of the scene. So the color problem is not just a color problem. It is also a white balance problem, an exposure problem, and a structure problem. That is why underwater photographers cannot rely on color alone to fix the image. Here is the practical problem. Color tools amplify what is already there. If white balance is off, color exaggerates the wrong cast. If exposure is weak, saturation can make the image feel heavier instead of cleaner. If presence is missing, the subject can still feel flat even after you add more color. That is why underwater photographers often feel frustrated. The tools are not necessarily bad. They are just being used too early. Color should refine the image after the foundation is working, not before. Okay, this is the sequence I want you to remember. White balance comes first because it sets the color direction. Exposure comes next because it gives the image tonal structure. Presence adds shape, depth, and separation. Only then does color do its real job, which is refinement. After that, masking can solve specific local problems, and final adjustments can help you finish with restraint. If you remember nothing else from this lesson, remember this: build structure first, then refine color. So what should color actually do? It should refine the image, not rescue it. Once structure is right, color can guide attention to the subject, restore believability, control distractions, and add polish. The goal is believable color, not maximum color. That means the water should still feel natural, the sand should not turn pink, the shadows should not get murky, and the viewer should still feel like they are looking at a real underwater scene. A simple check is to ask yourself, does this still feel like real underwater scene? If the answer is yes, your color choices are probably moving in the right direction. This is why presets struggle underwater. A preset can apply a set of adjustments, but it cannot read the dive. It does not know the depth, the water clarity, the strobe distance, the subject color, or what happened in the background water. It does not know how much red, orange, or yellow light was lost. That is why one click may look good on one image and terrible on the next. Presets can be a starting point, but they should never replace judgment. Underwater editing works best when you follow a workflow and make decisions based on what the image actually needs. Before you move on from the color stage, ask a few simple questions. Does the water still look believable? Does the subject look natural? Did the sand, shadows, or background shift color? Is the color helping the viewer find the subject? And would another diver recognize the scene? That last question matters because underwater photography is not about making the ocean look like a cartoon. It's about helping the photo better reflect how the dive felt while still respecting how water actually affects light. The final test is simple. Does this still feel like a dive? Okay, let me bring this back to the main point. Color comes after structure. Start with the foundation. White balance and exposure point the file in the right direction. Build shape before polish. Presence helps create depth, separation, and subject clarity. Then use color as refinement. Do not ask color to fix structure. Build the image first, then refine the color. Next week, we move to masking, which is powerful, but it should solve specific local problems. It should not replace the global workflow.